Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. If you haven't had your homie smash that subscribe button, go and have them smash it right now. Today, we have another banger, a special guest for an interview that I think the light needs to be shed, right? To actually what's going on in policing in current times, 2022, 2023. So today I have the host of the YouTube channel, 50 Confidential. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. How's your day going today?
Been great.
That's
Great
what's
day.
up, man. So, we ran into each other at the gym. We got in touch. We started talking, and we have a lot in common, bro. Not only
Yes,
not only law enforcement, but the military background.
right,
So,
right.
where are you originally from?
San Diego,
Oh,
California.
you're lucky, man. You're
Yeah.
lucky.
How about
In
you?
Brawley, California, which is
Oh, that's right.
Imperial Valley, dude, in the middle of freaking nowhere.
There. Desert, man.
I don't know
Shoot.
why I pointed this way, but yeah,
Uh,
it's in my
I did when I was a kid. I did a wrestling tournament out there. I couldn't believe people lived there. I was like, damn,
right there,
it's a rough area. I mean, it's not,
right
it's
there.
desert.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you grew up in San Diego. What year did you graduate high school?
Oh, 04,
Okay,
2004.
okay. Where did you play sports? Were you a skater? What was your upbringing like?
I skated. I played a little bit of sports. Wrestled a little bit of lacrosse.
Damn.
But I was one of those kids that I went and got a job right away at 16, or even actually 15. I had my first job. So
What was it?
yeah, it was called Henry's Produce. I think it's called Sprouts now. They took over, but yeah, I was just like stacking fruit and vegetables and stuff.
Nice.
And 10th grade.
10th grade.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was a paper boy, like 8th grade or ninth grade. So I totally get the yearning to want to work at a young age.
wanted to hustle, man.
There you
Was
go.
ready.
Wanted to buy your own Nintendo 64.
Yes,
Um,
and all the
Speaking
games
of,
with it.
were you a
Yeah.
gamer? Were you a gamer as well back then? Just trying to get a little history of you.
Hell yeah. GoldenEye, Star
That's what's up.
Fox, Smash Brothers, all those. How about you?
Right here, bro. I got a massive ass cartridge of GoldenEye. I don't know
Oh,
if you can see it,
yeah.
but
I see it. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a little replica. But yeah, dude, definitely gamer, man. So, what age or what did it take for the little light bulb to go off that you wanted to join the United States Army?
Well, my dad was a Marine. So as ever since I was a kid, I want to be in the military. And then 9/11 happened when I was in high school. So I got real patriotic from that. I was like, oh, I already know I'm going. Like, I think I was in 10th grade when it happened. So just 2 short years away, I joined, and literally within a year, I got deployed. So it was pretty fast how it happened.
Did you join the delayed entry program?
Yeah. So actually, I joined in 2003. Yeah.
Cool.
Um, and then 6 months later, I was gone.
Facts. So for the viewers at home, the delayed entry program is you can join while you're still in high school and wait. I joined the beginning of my senior year. So you wait, you're already signed in a contract. And upon completion of graduation, you're shipped out.
Hmm.
So interesting, man.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like it's funny looking back because you're so young and naive. You don't really understand. I mean, you kind of get the picture of it, but it's like, bro, you're about to go to war. Like you're a child still, but
Facts.
it's that mentality. I grew up around the kind of the military mindset, so
Did you
it
watch
was it was
We Were Soldiers, Black Hawk Down? That was around that same
yeah.
time frame.
Yeah, Black Hawk Down was the one that got me. That I love to this day. I still love that movie. Man,
Yeah,
that
me
was
too.
Rangers, yeah, Delta, and all that. So,
So was your dad for you or against you or just neutral about you joining the military?
oh, super proud. He was all about it. Yeah.
Right. He didn't try to discourage you at all?
No,
Wow,
no,
wow.
no, no.
Okay.
Nope.
Um so then where did you go to basic training at?
Fort Benning, Georgia.
Oh, yeah. What was your MOS?
18 X-ray. So it's like special forces, and then if you make it, then you're actually special forces. If you either get hurt or you don't make it, then you could drop down to like airborne infantry. So yeah, I got hurt during the special forces selection, and I ended up just sticking with airborne infantry. So 82nd Airborne was where
That's
I ended
what's
up.
up, dude. It's kind of like a RIP contract, when you get RIP Ranger.
Yeah,
Eh,
Yeah.
And then if something happens, you just go to a regular infantry unit. So you happen to go to the 82nd, dude.
Yeah, well, which it was right there because the Special Forces assessment is there at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So the transition was real quick. It's just they're like, we could roll you to the next class, and that's like 6 months of waiting in the barracks. And I'm like, nah, I just want to go to war. I want to do this. Like, let's go. So
From the time you touched down to the 82nd, did your unit already have orders to go to, what was it, Iraq, Afghanistan?
Afghanistan, yeah.
Ooh,
So I got with my unit in man, it must have been January or maybe February of 2005. Shoot, I can't remember now. Yeah, I guess it was '05. And then literally within like 3 weeks, we were deploying to Afghanistan. So
you
yeah.
gotta love it, man. I don't mean to laugh, but I went through the same exact scenario.
Okay.
Exact,
No way,
yeah,
man. Where'd
yeah.
you end up?
Well, I touched down in Germany, Schweinfurt, Germany, First Infantry Division, and then as soon as we got into the classroom, the in processing, they said, if you're going to 118 Infantry or 126 Infantry, you're going to Iraq. It was
Oof.
just the whole classroom just got quiet and somber, dude. Like reality hit.
I definitely preferred Afghanistan over Iraq because Iraq is a lot of urban fighting, and it's just there's too many. Well, I mean, it's the same thing in the mountains. You could hide anywhere, but I feel like those door to door kicking doors in that's more dangerous. So
At this point, I'd prefer neither, but yeah, I
yeah,
hear you, dude.
I'm good just being in California now. So
Right. So you deployed. Wow, dude. How long was your deployment?
I was there like 10 months, something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Man, so you deploy, you ETS, and did you have plans or goals to a career afterwards?
Um, yeah, I was, kind of messed up from the deployment. I did see a lot of stuff there, and PTSD is real, man. I couldn't sleep. I had trouble kind of reassimilating to society, but I managed. And I just kind of had some odd jobs while I was going to community college, and then ended up working for AT&T for a while. But ultimately, I want to be a cop. So I did have that goal in mind, but I wanted my mind to be more, I guess, stable before I get into that career.
That's interesting, man, and I respect that. I respect that you identified like, hey, man, I came back. There's some things going on, and I'm not ready quite yet to become a police officer.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, I respect. That's very respectable, bro.
Drank a little
Um,
too much those years. Yeah,
we got the same story, dude. I know all too well. I know it all too. You're only one
yeah.
year younger than me. You deployed 1 year after than me, and yeah, only difference you're from San Diego. I'm from fucking bumfuck Brawley.
Yeah.
um,
Shit.
so you would eventually join a police agency in Southern California.
Yeah, yeah. So I went to college, finished the degree, and then I did some internships, and then I ended up at this pretty big police department. And I don't really want to say who it is, but yeah, I had a blast. I loved it. The training was amazing, and just the experience. I loved getting out, working graveyards with my buddies, and chasing gangsters, and vehicle pursuits, and all kinds of fun stuff. So it was a fun career for a few years at least.
What year did you get out of the army, and what year did you join this police agency?
Uh, let's see. '06, got out of the army, and then joined the police force 2015.
2015.
I did have it.
2015.
Yeah, so I got stuck in a career that I bought a house early on. Like I was 22 when I bought my first house, and so I had a career with AT&T. I couldn't just drop it and go to school full time. I was kind of in this weird transition period where I had to stick with that job for like 5 years. So I would have been a cop sooner, but yeah.
Roger. 2015, man. What was the political climate at that time? Because trust me, I've been trying to keep up and I can't. Right? So much riots, protests, all kinds of stuff going on.
I think that was the year that there was some real traction with the anti-police movement. The Ferguson thing popped off, I think 2014.
Ferguson.
You remember that?
Ferguson was probably the start of it.
Yeah. So right, and that's when body cams first came out. I think it was 2014. My academy, we were like one of the first academies to start training with body cams before we even hit the field. So um, Yeah, there was a lot of attention on police. There was then 2015, there was that incident in Dallas where the guy assassinated like 5 cops, or he killed like 5 cops.
From a parking structure?
Yeah, yeah, and, I remember maybe it was 2016, I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I remember being, like, on phase training. I had graduated the academy, and, like, one of the assistant chiefs came in and talked about it, like, "Hey, you guys gotta watch each other's back. You gotta be, like, pairing up in cars now," like, it was very serious, and, yeah.
Okay.
And it's only gotten I feel like it's gotten worse, with the
Ab-
rhetoric of the media and all that, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So you come off as a squared away individual, man, even to the point where you just said you didn't feel you were ready to be a police officer. So you kind of put it on hold until you were
Yeah.
ready, right? That says a lot. That speaks volumes. I would imagine that you joined. Well, I'm not gonna put any words in your mouth. Why did you join? Was it to protect the public? To have a career, service?
Well, yeah, they say it's the noblest job is to serve the public, and I love the idea that you could be saving a life one day, you could be arresting a bad guy, a murderer, the next day, or stopping an armed robbery. It's just exciting. Your scenery changes every day. I like a lot of stimulation in my mind, so I can't really sit at a desk. And just it's all in the name of helping people, so and bettering the community. So, and it's pretty good money. Um,
Facts.
there's a lot of reasons to do it, and I just time went by so fast while I was a cop. I'll be honest. So I mean, that's a good career to get into.
So I'm tracking, man. I'm definitely tracking. You could not be at a desk or a cubicle, and neither could I, man.
Right.
We gotta be in the fire. We gotta be where the adventure's at. Um,
Yeah.
even if sometimes that's harm's way. Did you ever foresee the perceptions of police officers as a whole in the United States, it would be to what it turned out to be?
No. Um, I always thought of them as like a bunch of hard asses, and but they're real smart, kind of like savvy type of people. That's just always been my opinion, even as a kid. I know that they see heinous things. I didn't know to what degree until I became a cop. People just there's no way of knowing unless you actually do the job. You wear the uniform, the badge, and people are staring at you like, hey, you got to make a decision. Um, but no, I did not think it would turn into this let's hate cops every day, all day. All cops are bastards. It doesn't statistically, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, there's millions of contexts every year across the country, and you only hear about like one or two bad ones per year where a cop is actually acting criminally. You know, we're all human. We make mistakes. I made mistakes in my career, but it didn't rise to the level of criminality, right? So
Correct.
my thing is like, look, if the cop's doing criminal activity, by all means, investigate him, go after him, and put him in prison, whatever you got to do. But like, don't label the rest of us like that. It's just foolish. It doesn't make any sense.
So let's talk about being a brand new law enforcement officer and the learning curve. And you mentioned you've made mistakes. You've mentioned would would you agree that there's definitely a learning curve and mistakes probably will happen on the
Oh
job?
yeah, oh yeah. There's so much to know about that job. You just look at a law book, right? Like penal codes of California. It's bigger than the Bible. It's massive. There's no way you're going to know all of those laws, along with all the policies and procedures within your department and use of force. Matrix. There's so many things that you have to take into account before you act, and you have to know, what are the citizens' constitutional rights. Make sure you're not violating them. I mean, there's so much. I mean, it takes at least 2 years just to be like, you're not even off probation really till I think 2 years, at least with the department I was on in California. Um, Learning curve, yes. They put you through like 4 months of field training with a field training officer who's like a senior officer. And they try to teach you as much as they can, but it's not even enough. Like they get you by just to survive, but I think the common theme is you're not really a cop till like 5 years. That you're not like you don't really know a lot until about 5 years on.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
you were in the military. Would you agree or disagree that leadership within a unit, agency, and department can make or break the morale and or sense of direction, maybe cause confusion and chaos, and maybe not set forth a, I guess, a good learning environment to thrive, right? To learn, to succeed.
Yeah. Leadership. So you're saying if it's poor leadership, can it
Yeah,
affect the morale?
does that affect the success rate of a police officer on the street?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if we're yeah, okay. If you have leadership that you don't trust or that they treat you like they don't trust you, what can you build off of? There's no foundation of trust or of I can rely on you to have my back. Um, I know you're going to support me when I make this decision. That has everything to do with the job. So I think what happens is it creates a hesitation within some police officers that maybe would have otherwise had a little more confidence in their moves if they felt that they would have support. Um, so yeah, it's critical to have good leadership. Sorry, it's critical to have good leadership. I worked for a department in Utah, so I left California last year, and then I went to Utah, and I was a police officer out there for a little over a year, and it was night and day difference. I mean, it was like total support from the admin, the chief, the command staff, city council, the mayor, the citizens. Like it was so easy to work there. I couldn't handle the weather, but
Yeah.
like it's a stark contrast of where I came from, what turned into my job in California. It was great the first couple of years, and then it just got weird, and that's kind of why I left. So yes, leadership is everything.
So I know how my viewers think, man. That's why I'm going to beat them to the punch. So you said like you wanted to feel like your leadership had your back, right? But
Yeah,
just to clarify, that means like you following policy and procedure, and if an incident happened, that the leadership, would follow policy and hold you accountable to the law, right? To the policy and
yeah,
procedure.
yes.
As
Now,
opposed, real quick, as opposed to public perception and or something that we've been seeing in the news lately is, police chiefs worrying about what the mayor's going to think and stuff like that.
community pressure, yeah,
Community pressure.
activists, yeah. You would like to think that, hey, I did the right thing, I followed policy, I got nothing to worry about. Um, I don't think it's the case necessarily with all departments. There's some departments that they got a good culture within them and good leadership, so it's not an issue. But I've been at one in California where it became a thing where it was like, we're going to nitpick every little thing you did. We're going to find a policy violation somewhere. The optics of this don't look good, even though you're within policy. So it's like, how do I fix that as a cop? Like, hey man, I'm doing things on the fly. Like this is split second decision stuff I'm doing, and it's a lot of stress to begin with. So yeah,
I'm glad you said that, man, because we suffer the same thing in California Department of Corrections, man. A lot of violations of Graham versus Connor case law.
yeah.
Um, judging in hindsight 2020, which you're not supposed to.
Right, right. And it's what a reasonable officer would have done the same thing in a same or similar situation, right? Under tense, uncertain, rapidly evolving events. To quote the case law.
Yep.
And it's like, you're not giving enough credit to that. I mean, if I'm on a traffic stop and I have to worry, like my reaction time is not going to be as fast as his decision to make a move, right? There's a science to it where you're going to be a little slower no matter what. It is because you don't know that they're going to make a move or not to do something. So that's just a lot to take into account. So they got to give you a little more credit, and I think they got to be a little easier on their cops. These leadership that are pretty strict with their guys and gals. So
I just want the viewers to know that uh, this individual just recited case law. He just recited case law and use of force policy, right? So he definitely knows his stuff, right? Just like I did. So you have two former veterans of wars joined a law enforcement career, hoping to do the best, and got, in essence, sort of driven out due to the culture, the political ugliness that's currently going on, man. And I just wanted to put that out there, dude.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't have to be that way, but it's becoming that way with some departments. It seems to be the bigger ones, the bigger departments. It's like why it doesn't make you a stronger department. It hurts the culture. I think there's a lot of people who they hear, oh, there's a job opening to be a cop. Yeah, no, I'm good. It's just it's no longer something to be proud of or like really highly sought after. Like when I first applied to be a cop, I mean, there was 500 people that showed up to the physical, and I thought, oh my god, like this is going to be good competition. I mean, they're only going to pick the best of the best out of this. Now it's like I went to an application like I don't know 6 months ago, maybe a year, and there was like 30 people there, and I was like, oh man. And they weren't exactly squared away wearing suits. They were kind of just ragtag, like
Yep.
borderline sloppy and like
Yep.
with beards, like you know what I mean, like long hair, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but usually you shave and you cut your hair a little bit
And wear a
for an
suit.
interview. Yeah. So maybe the new pool of candidates isn't as good because a lot less people want to do the job.
Facts, facts, facts. That and a generational gap, man. They don't make them like us anymore, man. We're the last of a dying breed. So I know you mentioned that type of culture diminishes a department, but I want you to tell me, in your words, from your experience, what the hell does that do to safety of a city? What kind of bad things, bad people, bad stuff did you see out there on patrol?
Um, well, I mean, I left in 2022, right around the time of the mandates, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I know crime skyrocketed, murder rates went up. You see these videos of like Walgreens being looted in broad daylight. The criminals know everything's been decriminalized. There's no accountability anymore. They're not going to be, held to it anymore. They might get a ticket or maybe taken to jail and released right there if they're taken to jail. So there's not a lot of incentive to follow the law anymore or to enforce the law. It seems like in some places, I'm not saying everywhere, but some of these cities are going through some chaos. You look at like maybe Portland or LA, San Francisco,
Oof.
it's not good for those cities. So maybe, yeah, they need to change something, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of homeless problems in those major cities that you just mentioned, man.
Yeah,
And it's like, wow, what the hell has happened?
right.
Um,
But the staffing shortages would be another problem that because you're asking, hey, how does it affect the city? Well, when staffing is low, that means there's less cops on the street, which means less crime is being prevented, or less officers are arriving to calls for service within a timely manner. It's longer wait times. There's so many things. It's a ripple effect, and it's unnecessary. It never had to happen that way. We should have full fat departments of just like no vacancies. That'd be best case scenario, and have encourage your people to go out and be proactive and look for bad guys instead of just worrying about, okay, if I arrest this guy, they're going to ask me, hey, did I have to stop that guy? What was the reason for it? Could I have just not done it? It turns into that. So
I had a friend that worked in the area police agency near me, man. He said like when the whole protests and riots that they had to start giving the description of the race right off the bat, and it was like just turned into. So then he's like, yeah, man, I would just call everybody a Indian Samoan or a Native American Samoan, and that would solve that problem.
I think
Did
they
you
call it.
experience that?
Are you talking about California?
Yeah, like that. They were just coming up with on the fly, like they were
Yeah.
making stuff up.
There was a racial identity profile act. I think that's what it's RIPA, RIPA.
Yeah.
They rolled that out to us the last couple of years, and it was a way to collect data of who you're stopping, like why you're stopping them. Which is kind of funny because it's like for vehicle stops, you can't even see what the people look like half the time. I'm like, well, they had an expired tab. Uh, but then they ask you like, well, what was their race? And I'm like, is that why like, you know what I mean? It's just weird. Like it doesn't really make sense to me, but
I totally get it, man. It makes sense to them, and that's why it doesn't make sense to us.
yeah.
You mentioned short staffing. Now, does
Mm.
that equal longer shifts for the current police officers?
It can. Sometimes you get held over. it's more workload. Like, let's say the minimum staffing is 12 or 16 officers for that shift, but there's only 10 that day. So you're six under, and they kind of scramble to like hire back, people, hey, you want to do overtime from another shift? Like, do you want to work another 10 hours after you work 10 or maybe 6 hours? But they're already tired, and so it absolutely affects everything, the day-to-day operations. You could be held over, and I was held over plenty of times.
I got a question for you.
So
A guy like me and a guy like you with similar background, similar training, and similar experience. Let's say
mhm.
I don a badge and a gun, a police officer, right? And I get encountered with a suspect that shoots at me and I shoot back. A- Am I gonna go under some type of scrutiny or investigation, or am I gonna be in the hot seat?
Oh yeah. I mean, usually they're going to look at it on face value. How does the shoot look initially? You're going to wear a body cam. There's probably going to be, security cameras around that caught it too. What are the circumstances? So it could drag on for many months that you're
Oof.
under investigation, or it could just be maybe a few days to a couple weeks that they're like, yeah, this looks good. Everything's in place. You got good probable cause. The guy shot first. You were defending yourself, so it's cut and dry. I mean, that's best case scenario. I've had a couple buddies in shootings where I was worried. I was like, oh my god, like he shot the guy. The guy didn't die, but the other guy shot at him first. So hopefully he's good. And I think he was back in the field in a couple weeks. So it all just depends, the circumstances, and it could go a million different ways. So
Now, it's kind of a dumb question. It's kind of a dumb question, right? But the bad guy doesn't have to shoot first for a peace officer or police officer to use deadly force. Is that correct?
oh yeah, yeah, that's correct. They make a furtive movement for their waistband. We don't know what you're carrying. If I just go to stop you for traffic violation, or maybe you match the description of a suspect I'm looking for, and I have reasonable suspicion to stop you, at least to question you, pat you down for weapons at minimum. If you go to reach for something real quick, I mean, it's kind of, you have to assume like, hey, why would someone do that in a situation like this? They might have a gun. They're trying to get the drop on me, So yeah. Oh, you know what? So when you're detaining the suspect, they're lawfully detained. They can't leave. And for your own safety, you do have the right to pat them down. So it only raises your suspicion if they say no, you can't pat me down. Usually people are like, yeah, sure, pat me down. Like they don't really have a problem with it. But when they are carrying a knife or a gun or maybe dope, they do get real evasive or fidgety and kind of backing away, and that's where the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, like, oh shoot, something about to go down. If they reach for something really fast, it's on, and I can't just assume he's reaching for his chapstick. Like, so there's situation. I'm not saying, how do I put this?
I'm tracking. I'm tracking, bro.
I'm not giving advice to anybody. I'm just
Correct.
saying that you got to protect yourself. So this is not advice, it's not legal advice. Follow your
So,
department's policy and procedure.
so it's a fine line, though. It's a fine line, and not everybody is a combat veteran, and not everybody has the street smarts. So if you're a young, brand new officer, right? You just left your job at Starbucks, man. You got
Mhm.
a badge now. You got a gun, and you're being told and or you're seeing the writing on the wall that, hey man, if I shoot somebody, I'm gonna be fucked. They're gonna burn down this city. I'm gonna be fired. I'm gonna be under investigation.
It's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of
Yes,
weight, right?
on
would
your
you
shoulders.
say would you say now, an estimated guess, that some people would actually sacrifice and risk saving their own life to not face those consequences?
You're saying like that they won't save their own life to not get those
Correct.
consequences?
Like,
Hesitate? Yeah.
hesitate.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the sad part. It's like, man, you can't even do your job anymore because you're worried about being on the news next time, or being on trial, or you're the reason why this city's burning down now. Like it's a lot of pressure. And I hate it that it's like that, but
In
it is the job you signed up for, so you're taking some risk anyways to begin with, but
True.
with the amount of eyes on you, and cameras and social media, it just amplifies everything, you know.
In hindsight, you say that's a lot of pressure. Did you feel your body going through any stress or like a high heart rate or like blood pressure or hypervigilance? Can you describe some of that?
Yeah. So as a cop, you know, you're always having adrenaline rushes. I don't. You said you were in the prisons.
Yeah.
So were you like dispatched to like cells for like fights and stuff?
Yeah, when the alarm goes off, you respond. You run to the location
Okay, so I imagine your adrenaline spikes a little bit. It's
instantly.
the same. Yeah. So it's the same thing when you're sitting in your patrol car and dispatch radio voice comes up, says, "Hey, your call sign. Hey, respond to this burglary alarm or fight in progress or something like that." You cannot help but your adrenaline spikes, your heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, um, over and over. You go to thousands of calls throughout your career. I've been to thousands of calls. I was a patrol officer for 8 years, so I literally been to thousands of calls, and that's happened to me every time, even if it's the smallest call where it's like, oh, it's just a probably just a false alarm. You know, just go check it out. Like, you still have to prepare for the worst. So what do you do? It's that fight or flight mentality you get into. Your body gets into survival mode over and over again, and it's like that is not healthy. You're running at very high like cortisol levels within the body, and
Oof.
that ages you, and you get, you know, you gain weight and you can't sleep, and
Erectile
yeah, you're a
dysfunction.
nervous wreck. So there's a lot of it that will affect you physically. Yeah.
For sure, man. I used to joke that I had erectile dysfunction as a result of the job, man. But everything's alive and well and kicking now.
Good, that's good to hear. I never had that, but
so,
uh that
so
that sucks. Yeah, I would hate that. So
no, for sure, man. It sucks, but just had to lighten the mood, bro. So,
yeah, yeah, get a little serious here.
yeah, no, it's a good thing, man, because I wanted to. And you mentioned you've been to 1,000 calls, man, and these are the 1,000 calls that don't get put on the news. Hey, let's congratulate this officer. He didn't wasn't a scumbag 1,000 times over, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's good to highlight that and you multiply it, right? And I'm and without getting political, without saying, "Oh, back to blue, I'm a blue flag." Where, but you know, we all have common sense, right? And like you said, if you're
yeah,
a criminal with a badge, then hey, by all means, you get that, you get what you have coming.
right.
But my heart goes out to the people that trying to do the right thing and get fucking become victim to the political madness, bro.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I started my channel, my YouTube channel. I just want to kind of
Let's talk about
celebrate the
that.
heroes. Yeah, I just started a YouTube channel. I'm kind of doing like police video breakdowns, and I'm more focused. Well, I'd like to do more interviews. It's kind of hard to get interviews with when you're new, but interview cops and hear their stories, and just show respect to police and all they go through, the challenges of the job. I don't think they're celebrated enough, and that's just what I'd like to do. Just shed some positivity on the job, and I enjoy doing it so far. It's pretty cool, and that's where I'm at.
I'm definitely gonna send some people your way. Like I said, man, I've during this journey, I've made a lot of contacts,
Yeah,
and in the grand scheme of things, there's not that many people that have walked away from their law enforcement career to speak out and tell the truth.
right, right. Yeah, well, it's addictive. You know, the money's good, and well, usually it's pretty good. And it's just too easy to stay. It's like, well, I already have a career. Yeah, I don't like what's going on, but I'm just gonna stick it out. And it's scary to start over. I mean, it was hard for me. I had to start over. I moved away to another state. I had no friends, no family there. It was rough, and it was kind of depressing. But luckily, the people there were very nice in the other state. So,
Awesome,
um, but now I'm
awesome.
here, so I'm back. But yeah,
Where do you see the future of policing in the United States? Are they gonna get worse before it gets better? Is it even ever gonna get better? Are we doomed as a nation?
you know, it seems like there's some upside around the corner because I feel like a lot of these cities that defunded the police are feeling the heat now. They're kind of like, man, citizens are pissed. You know, there's homeless everywhere, there's crime everywhere. Nobody could get a cop out fast enough, so they're kind of pushing for recruitment, and there's huge bonuses at some of these departments, like $20,000 bonus. Um, so I don't know. I'm hoping that they're able to turn it around, and people who are smart enough to realize, like, yeah, we do need the police. Like, it's crazy to think otherwise. And I think the harder challenge will be changing the culture within the departments and making it a more appealing job. That's the real challenge, I guess. Along because and then once you fix that, the recruiting would be easier, I think. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about the
So
out?
so you came in 2015. Was there some OG veterans that had been around the block wearing the badge and they had uh priceless experience under their belt?
Oh my God, yeah,
It's safe to
yeah.
say that
Oh,
they're probably all gone now, right?
heck yeah, heck yeah. Right around the riots, a bunch of them started dropping off. They're like, you know what? I've done 30 years. I'm out. Like, good luck, guys. I'm hanging up my hat. They passed on some knowledge, but even after the riots, that's when like the mandates started rolling out, and a lot of good cops left. They're like, well, you're not going to treat me like that,
Are
and
you
I'll just
talking about the COVID mandates?
yeah, yeah. So I watched it just fall apart in front of my eyes, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. So then the old crew left, the old guard left, and then the kind of up and coming OGs started to leave too. So it was like,
Oh,
dude, all this great experience is leaving now. It's like, what are you doing?
man.
Yeah. So
Dude, I
it's a
feel
shame.
that, bro. I fucking feel that, dude. That's because those are it's almost like no, it's not almost like. It's like being in the military, bro. You're like a fucking Vietnam veteran. You got a salty ass vet that's been in country for like 4 fucking years straight. He
Hmm.
knows where not to step, where to step, what not to do to get your ass shot off.
Hmm.
And just
Right.
up and went away, disappeared.
Yeah, they have a lot of knowledge that they could pass on, and a lot of them used to just kind of relish in that, like giving knowledge to the new guys. They didn't hate the job when I joined. They were there 30 years and still going strong. So there was a huge shift in the culture, like
To
right when I few years in for me.
So, to my understanding, as a result of the COVID mandates, a lot of people walked, but then some agencies sent out letters to ask them to please come back or if they were interested. Do you know anything about that?
I had some friends that told me about that. Yeah, I had already left by that time. I left the state, but I did see that.
Is that like a slap in the face, do you think, or just tone deaf?
Um, Yeah, it's definitely like it makes them look really foolish. It just kind of proves like, hey, you were wrong, and now look at you. Like, you wanted to treat me as if I was nothing, like I never did anything for you, and then I leave, and now your department's falling apart, and it's like, hey, I take it back. I take it back. We're cool, right? Like, come on back. It's just like, no, dude, come on. Like, I'm an adult. This is not how things go. I've already moved on, and um, it's your loss. So, you know,
That reminds me of a toxic ex girlfriend, bro. Which is sad to say because this should be a professional environment, man. Which is crazy. So,
yeah.
where can people find you? What's the name of your YouTube channel? Do you have an IG? Where can people that want to touch bases with you and share their story as well as shed light on what's going on?
50 confidential is my handle on YouTube. That's you spell out five and then it's a zero and then confidential. Don't have an IG for it yet,
Cool.
but I have a Gmail, 50confidential at gmail.com. So if you guys, anybody
There it
want to do
is.
an interview or tell your story, yeah. And
I'm
then
gonna
otherwise, yeah.
I'm gonna link those both in the bottom, your email and your YouTube.
Okay.
Um,
Thanks, man.
for sure. Is there anything you want to say in clothing? In closing, it was fucking awesome to have you, dude. Because I haven't heard a story like this, man. I haven't heard it from the horse's mouth.
Nothing, man. Just thank you for having me. It was awesome seeing you in person because I'd always see you on my feed, like as an influencer, and then I run into you at the gym, and now we're talking. So it's pretty cool to
It's all
meet you
good,
and
bro.
do this. Thank you.
I'm a regular dude, bro, not an influencer. But
Oh, sorry.
I hear
I
you, I hear you, man. Um,
Yeah, my bad.
cool. Well, hey, dude, I want to thank you for your service in policing, bro. Thank you for your service to our country in the military, man. And there's a lot of fucking people that care, bro. Trust me. With
Yeah.
that, keep pushing forward, and thank you for coming on here, man.
Thanks, man. Have a
Hang
good one.
tight. There you guys have it, folks. Make sure you go over and subscribe to that channel ASAP. Please. Thank you. You guys have a good night.